My name is Bryce AKWO, and I was born and raised in South Africa to Cameroonian parents. I came back to Cameroon 2018, and from there I went through this phase for 5 years where I was mainly focused on trying to gain experience in the professional world. During this time, I learned a lot about fields in finance and so on and so forth. And the most important thing that I learned was how the financial markets work. And so in the year 2022, in October, my mother advised me to register for the Cameroonian GCE examinations. And from there, I registered. I did marketing as a commercial student in Douala. Prior to this, I was based in Yaoundé. Good news, I passed. I not only passed, but I came second in Cameroon. I scored straight A's for all my subjects, and I look forward to what the future holds. So I have two siblings. Both are step siblings. One from my mother's side, one from my father's side. And I'm the only child between my mother and my father.
He was a very humble student. He was very hardworking. And because he was humble and hardworking, he had to produce the result which he made. Many people went in for the GCE 2023, but he went in as a different candidate because this is a boy we were sending to the GCE hall to actually present the school. There were many of them who were hardworking, but this particular one excelled extra mile to prove the work of the school. Because here we have discipline. Here we take care of the children as if they are us. Because when parents are not there, we are those who take care of them.
During these 5 years, I spent 5 years out of school. During these 5 years, I did not only sit at home. I'm someone who is very proactive. So I went out and about. I went to one financial institution in Yaoundé, and I just told them what I knew. I told them this is me, and they gave me a probationary period to work with them. So what I was doing there was more of marketing of financial products and services. And I learned a lot about the financial markets. I learned what the true meaning of the financial markets were, what they were meant for, to be used for. I understood how to approach people, how to hold yourself, how to present yourself, how to make sure that you get a message across, how to communicate effectively. I learned all these things during that time. And those things really paid off because when I came back to school for my GCE, I happened to be a marketing student, commercial, and so everything that was there from professional marketing practice, digital marketing, economics, commerce and finance, professional English, all those things, they were things that I practiced as I was working, you see. So when I came back, I just saw everything is what I had already done. So it wasn't really difficult. It's like that. It's like you can say I studied for those 5 years and wrote the GCE in effect. In South Africa, we have something called grade 11, right? And grade 11 is the year before grade 12. And grade 12 is the equivalent year to advanced level, you see. So you can say I stopped at the equivalent year, you can say I stopped at, is it lower seat or upper seat? Yes, lower seat from 5. Lower seat from 5. That's, I can say, is the equivalent.
As a student, Bryce is a good kid. Good, why? Because his first ever time of studying marketing was in upper seat, and I was mesmerized and flabbergasted by his result because when he came a little bit late in upper seat commercial, I told him to try to have all his notes. Behold, he took 2 weeks to copy all the notes from lower seat and upper seat. That was the time I understood this kid is going to be an extraordinary student. From there, we started working together, doing things together, and then my evaluations were always kind of complicated. We always found a way around it by always making me, like what we say, wow, I was so impressed with him. So I've always known he's going to bring results to the school, up to the extent wherein I met my vice principal. I told him about him, that I would love him to register internal, but I was told it was not possible because he came in late and the framework at that time was already written, so it wasn't possible.
I was one of those people that thought education is not important. I will admit to that. But as time went on, like I said, during those 5 years, I really took time to kind of understand life. As a young man, young boy, still, going out of his teenage years and getting to understand the real world. And it's interesting that I had to come to Cameroon to understand the real world in Cameroon, because the world out of Cameroon is different from the world in Cameroon. It's much more, I wouldn't say difficult, but it requires you to be sharp. You see, it requires you to be sharp. So yeah, I understood life there and here in Cameroon.
And then he went to the GC and came out the first in the Republic of Cameroon. There were many of them, there were up to 8 of them from their batch, and he was the first with 40 points. There were 2 others with 39 points. There were 2 others with 38 points, and the rest fell between 35 and 37. We are so proud of him, and we know that he is going out there to raise the flag of the school, and the others to pick after him, because here we don't joke. This is a place where gold comes from.
I was one of those people that had this notion of school is not important, everything's available online and so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is that it's more advantageous for you to follow the process. If you look very well at and I only happened to understand this as I came back to school, the way the Cameroonian government or the GCE board has made education now is something more of a sense where you can leave school, and even if you don't get a job, they equip you with the correct knowledge, the correct tools to enable you to be self-employed, to understand the professional world and things like that, just from advanced level, from the point of advanced level. So that's why I decided to go back, because I felt that academic foundation is very important. It's something that is very much important. It's overlooked in Cameroon and in Africa because, many Africans travel out and they don't. Majority of them don't have the sound academic understanding. You see, so I feel it's very important for one to have that. It's very advantageous. Majority of the high-paying occupations, high-paying jobs, they require people who have good academic foundation. Yeah, if you want to be a doctor, you want to be an engineer, you want to be a software programmer, computer engineering. These are fields that pay very well. And also another thing, if I may add, is that many people, or how can I put this better? Many people online, they sell this dream of you not needing school. You see, you being able to do it by yourself. But at the end of the day, if we look at things, if this was the mindset that our doctors had, if this was the mindset that our policemen had, our soldiers had, saying that school is not important, then we would not have competent people to attend to us, you see. So I feel it's very important. School is very, very much important. And it's what you do with the information that counts. Me coming from South Africa, life is different there socially. The way you relate to people, the way you talk to people. So yeah, that was a challenge. Coming back to class, you're like the oldest guy or one of the oldest people in class, even though there were people who were also old. But like I think that was last year. I was 22. I turned 22 October September, and my birthday will be after tomorrow. The 7th of September is my birthday, so I'll be turning 23 this year. And how can I say this? The challenge that I faced was getting to understand my classmates, and also being that I'm from South Africa, even though I'm Cameroonian by nationality and my parents are Cameroonians, but I was born and raised in South Africa. So having to socially understand people, understand Cameroonians was something interesting, even though we had a Cameroonian community in South Africa. Yeah, even though we had a Cameroonian community in South Africa, I ate the food, I understood the pidgin that they spoke and everything. But coming here and experiencing it and having to adapt to it, that was a challenge, a huge challenge. It's a challenge I still face currently, you know, because it's just the way I grew up differently. And there's this funny thing that they normally say, is Kichwe Camerounais? You know, are you Cameroonian? You know, and then I had to, one person asked me this at the job site, and then I had to ask him a question. I asked him, so what is a Cameroonian? And he just kept silent. He didn't have a response, you know, and that's something interesting, you know. We still, us as Cameroonians, still have to find our own Cameroonian identity. Because it's funny that he asked me a question and I asked him a question back, but then he was silent.
AKWO was the first student in this nation. I'm talking about a student who had all of his 40 points in the advanced level commercial. This student was outstanding with 8 A grades, and that shows just who he is. He has a good relationship with all his teachers and he respects them so much because he considers them not only as teachers, but as parents. Among his mates, he doesn't so much express some differences in terms of age, but he understands that everybody is needy, and so he has been helping throughout.
Everyone was very, very much supportive, you know. Going from the time I started school as a young child, I was bright. I can say I was a bright student, yes. Every year I would have an award for something, this subject or that subject. So when they heard that I stopped school, everyone was just devastated. They were like, but why did you stop school? You're such a bright child. Have you dropped out? What's happening? You know, everyone was asking that question. And my mom was like, no, this child, this is the real world, you know. My mom has a PhD. She said, this is the real world, you know. This child has to understand what the real world is about first and let him make a choice of what he wants to do first before going back and completing his advanced level. Because the moment that you get that wrong, moment that you get that in that point in time, you get your choice wrong, it could affect you for your whole life, you know. Because my mom, at a point in time, when she was studying in South Africa, she was doing film and media at first. But then after a while, you know, it's something she liked. You know, she used to be in adverts and commercials and everything. It was something that she enjoyed. But then along the lines, she changed her field of studies to gender studies, women in gender studies. That's what she was focused on now, and left film and media. So, and she recounted the story to me of how she had to run up and down in the university. She attended the University of Cape Town, South Africa. Yeah, she did her bachelor's and her honors degree there. And so she told me the story of how difficult it was for her to find a way to make the right choice and everything. And there was no one there to counsel her through that, you know. So she just saw these years of me not going to school is important for me to understand what I want to do with my life. Because by the time I make my decision of what I want to do, let it be final and let it be something that is concrete. I have a lot in store. You know, there's this funny thing that I made up, you know, because since I wrote 8 subjects in the GCE and I passed all of them with straight A's, A grade, all of them. I had this thing in my mind where if it's possible for me to achieve something like this just through discipline, not that I'm too smart or anything, but the thing in life that's most important is discipline. If you say you're going to read this, you read it and you complete it. You have a schedule, you have a timetable, and you stick to it. And so I'm thinking that I definitely will go on to university. I'm thinking of ICT University in Yaoundé because I'm based in Yaoundé presently. And also on the side, I was thinking of launching 8 ventures, business ventures, 8 of them, just because I wrote 8 subjects. And so I want to test myself, you know, to see if I can transfer this excellence to the business world. So yeah, I want to launch 8 ventures. I had launched the first one already. This was before I came back to school, which was it's a financial company that deals in the financial markets. And so it helps young Cameroonians to be able to access trading capital to trade in the financial markets, and also to have guidance in trading in the financial markets, the global financial markets. My mother just came out of the blue and said, "Okay, boy, you have to go back to school." And I have an uncle who stays here, and he is a teacher, but he's not a teacher in, he doesn't teach, how can I say, the secondary school. He works with the, they call it the Institute, the Bilingual Institute of Commission of Bilingualism. Yeah, he's a teacher there. So he teaches English and French. They have a center in Koto. Yeah, so he's a teacher there, and he does registrations for people who want to do IELTS and TOEFL. He has proficiency exams. But he had friends who are teachers, and so he spoke to them and told them, "Look, I have this nephew of mine. My cousin just told me that this child needs to do his advanced level." And so when I came down, I met him. He's the one who took me by hand to all these schools. And then Sejet is the one that happened to give me admission. I went to the first school. It was a boarding school, and they were a bit scared that, "Oh, you are 22. We don't want you to come and confuse these young children here, you know." And then they didn't grant me admission. I went to the second school, which was Sejet. And as we went there, they just looked at me. They looked at my report card from South Africa, and they were fine with the result. They said, "Okay, at least this is someone who seems serious, so let's give him another chance." And so that's what they did. They gave me the chance. So I can say, like I say, it's divine. It's by luck, let me just say. Yeah, you know, it's still something that I struggle with. I don't know, yeah, I can say I struggle with, you know. It's not 18 years, like before I came, I was just in South Africa. So it's not easy to just change the mindset of someone who has been somewhere for 18 years, and for him to just easily adapt into a new system, something that he feels new to him, you know. So yeah, it's something that I'm taking bit by bit. I'm making the best of the best opportunities that I find in my surroundings in Cameroon. I take them. Those that are not beneficial to me, that are not productive, then I just put it one side. So I'm very selective of my friends, very selective of people I go around with, very selective of how I move, selective of a lot of things, you know. Yeah, so that's how I'm adapting. I'm selective. I'm not just out there.
AKWO Bryce Jr. has been a wonderful student for half a year that he came here. He's been an exemplary student, not only socially, but I think academically. This is a student who came here in January when registrations had begun, and a student who had all his life concentrated on the arts. And suddenly he came here and switched the discipline to offer the commercial subjects. And I bet you his behavior has been one of its kind, because all along his stay here, you wouldn't even notice that he's here, except in classes during the different subjects offered, that he could express himself and impress us.
Definitely. I'll start with the positive. I feel they're doing a good job so far. I don't think they realize they're doing a good job. They don't realize how powerful the curriculum is, and they don't understand that the curriculum that they have made, the syllabus that they have made, is very, 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 very informative. It's something that a lot of youth need, especially the commercial sector, the commercial series. Yeah, marketing, you know, but yeah, it's something that's very, very powerful. It's very interesting, but they don't realize it yet, how powerful of a curriculum they've put together in these 8 subjects. You know, they don't really realize that. And I feel they have done an excellent job, because when I was reading through my notes as I was studying, I was reading through my notes. You know, although these were things that I have done, I had, how can I say this, practically done at the job site when I was working. When I saw it again and how clearly everything was explained for one to understand, for one to digest, and for one to remember and retain so that you can write your exam. I was very impressed, very, very impressed. As the teachers would dictate notes, I would understand what they're saying, and before they know it, I would be the one completing the sentence for them because I understand the knowledge they're handing out. But the students around me did not understand. The teachers themselves did not understand how powerful this curriculum is. So I will give them props for that. They have done a very good job on that. The only downside I would say is that they don't realize that it's a very good curriculum, and we still get Cameroonians who feel that school is not important, which is I feel it's a very wrong mindset, a very wrong opinion to have, in my opinion. I think seeing that we come from Africa, where we can say where the Europeans or the Western world have recorded low levels of literacy amongst Africans, because Africans are not informed, they're not aware of what is going on around them and things like that. And then for us Africans to have the mindset that school is not important is very wrong, added to that. So I would say it's very important that Cameroonians adopt a mindset of education and not only to adopt a mindset of education, but to understand what they are studying and why they are studying these things. So for the downside, I would say Cameroonians need to be aware of what's happening in the education sector. Why I would say this too, sorry for being too long, is that when I would show my report, let me not say report card, but the results slip to many of neighbors, my mother, uncles, aunties, they would ask me the question, is advanced level now 8 papers? I thought it was 5 papers before. When I was a commercial student, it was 5 papers, and this is because they're not keeping up to date, and they would be the same people saying that the education is not good. So that's the downside, is that people are not aware. If you have left school and you have spent a considerable amount of time out of school, right? I would say you make the best of that time out of school to do things, be proactive, go out there. It's your country at the end of the day, go here, go left, go right and center, and ask questions, find things out, do research, on best careers that you want to get into, and try to get close to people who are in those fields. Try to understand what are the problems they are facing, and understand maybe you might be the one to bring a solution for a problem they're facing in that chosen career. I would also say is that for those who have just left and have just graduated, I would say they should make sure that they still do the same thing, do research, understand how the world works, read articles, listen to podcasts, visit guidance counselors, just be out there, because a lot of the times, many people complain of lack of development and things like that, but then at the same time, they're not aware of opportunities that are available for them out there, They don't want to take advantage of things that are out there. And it's not because they don't know these things are there. It's just that they don't take the time out to really, they don't really take the time out to do their research and check for these things. So my advice is for youth like me, for people who have not been in school for a while, do research, be out there, be proactive, know what you want in life. Most importantly, know what you want in life and go for it.